and today I want to talk about what to do when you are feeling discouraged in social situations and you feel like people don't like you. So first, what we should do is, instead of saying to ourselves, this person doesn't like me or this person likes me, and I'm talking about in terms of friendships, we should say instead, I felt a connection with this person, I connected with them in this way, or I felt disconnected from this person. We didn't have a connection. So you don't feel as bad about yourself where you're like, oh, these people didn't like me. I feel like they didn't like me. Instead, you just feel like, oh, I just didn't have a connection with them, right? And then it makes you feel like it's not your fault that, they didn't like you. It's more so you just didn't have a connection, and that's okay because you're not going to connect with every single person, right? And so in my life, when I had first joined this church that I go to, it's a mega church. So there are different locations all throughout New Jersey where I live. And twice a month, all of the young adults from all the different locations, I think there's like 7 locations, we all meet up at the main campus, and do these young adults activities. So I'm going to make up 2 different towns for the purpose of this story. So I joined Tootsie Roll Church, but there wasn't a young adults Bible study group for Tootsie Roll. So I then went to the Lollipop Bible study group because it's like 10 minutes away from me, right? And so I didn't really feel that much of a connection with the members of that Bible study group. I did with like 1 or 2 of them, but most of them I didn't. Then a couple weeks later, there ended up being a Bible study group at the Tootsie Roll, the church that I go to. So then I joined that Bible study group, and I felt more of a connection with the young adult members in that group. Except for maybe one of them I don't really, but for most of them I do. So then I had to make a decision at this one point after going to one of the young adults events. Both of the Bible study groups were going to Applebee's afterwards, to have dinner. And so I had to make a decision between which table I wanted to sit at because I was invited to both of them, right? And I kind of was at a crossroads a little bit because I was like, should I go to the Lollipop Bible study group because I went there first and I met them first, even though I kind of felt disconnected with them and I felt like they didn't really like me that much? Or should I go to the new group where I felt more of a connection, the Tootsie Rolls? So then I went over to the Tootsie Rolls and I had a good time, right? But the problem is, guys, that these Tootsie Roll people, they don't go to the big young adults events that happen twice a month. Only the people in the Lollipop group always go to these events. And so what I would find happening was I would go to these events and, since I know these people, I don't feel anxious, to go up to them and say hi to them and kind of put myself into their group. And I was doing that and I was feeling awkward and feeling bad about myself. And I was thinking to myself, these people don't like me, right? That's why I decided today that I have to reframe it between I just don't feel a connection with them. So I was feeling disconnected. And so these events happen twice a month. And so the most recent one was 2 days ago. And I thought to myself, I don't even want to go to this group. I feel disconnected there. And I just, these people don't like me. Feeling really bad about myself, feeling like I shouldn't go. But then I had to think to myself, there's 100 people that are going to these events. If 15 of the people there you think don't like you or you feel disconnected with, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go and you shouldn't socialize ever again and that everybody in the world doesn't like you. I realized that I have to go to these events and I just have to put myself in the position to meet new people. So I had went there and I did go up to the people that I knew just because it feels safe, I guess, to do that. But like I said, I didn't feel the connection, so I was starting to feel worse about myself and even more lonely. So then they had little chocolates in the other room, so I went over there, and I was just kind of standing there, and there were these 3 girls there, and one of them, I sort of talked to her briefly before, one time in the bathroom, so I was going to kind of insert myself into their conversation, but I was a little scared. But then the one girl just came up to me, and she complimented my hair, and so then I was talking with her, and I felt a connection with her, and then I was talking to the other 2 girls. So then I was able to have a good connection and a positive conversation with these 3 new people, right? So if I just didn't go to the event because I was feeling discouraged, oh, these lollipops, they don't like me, and I don't feel connected with them, that means I'm never gonna have friends, and I'm just gonna be alone and lonely for the rest of my life. then I wouldn't have went, and I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet these new people. So what I realized is that if you don't feel connected to a specific person or a specific group, that's okay, and you need to move on from them. Don't keep trying. Don't force a connection. I've realized this in terms of relationships. When I would go on a couple dates with somebody, and you kind of realize on the first date if you have a connection with them or not, but I would just be lonely, and so I would want to force it. But I didn't realize that I was also doing the same thing in terms of friendships, and so I was trying to force this connection and force these people to like me. I was literally watching YouTube videos like how to get people to like you, and I was watching some videos that was like, don't do these 5 things or people are not going to like you. But what I realized, guys, those videos weren't helpful at all. The only thing that helps me is like go into a social situation with the mindset of people like me and these people like me, only because if you think that way, you're more likely to be more friendly, and you're more likely to say hi to people and be approachable and smile at people. But if you don't feel connected to someone and you feel disconnected, then you have to stop trying with those specific people and move on from them and just try somebody else, and so that's what I did, and I was able to have a fun time. So I realized the next time I go there, instead of immediately going up to these people, like I'm not gonna ignore them, whatever, I'll say hi to them, but I'll try to look out for those other girls that I met. And also, this was like 2 months ago, they had this young adults gala, and so I had met this one girl at this women's event that they had. And so when they had the gala, I saw her, and I was able to I was hanging out with her and her friend. And so I kind of ditched the lollipop people, and I was hanging out with these 2 other girls that I had more of a connection with. And even doing that, I felt kind of bad, because I'm like, well, I knew these people first, and I felt kind of like, I don't even know, I had ties to them. I feel like I have to stay loyal to them, and we're married and all this stuff. But you don't have to do that. You have to do what's right for you. If you don't feel connected to a group, it's okay. Don't feel bad to move away from them and to move on to a different group that you can have more of a connection with, And you just have to realize that God made you the way that you are for a reason, and so it's good to just be authentic. When you act authentic, then you're going to meet people that you're going to connect with. If you act and put on a facade and change yourself in order to be liked by a specific group, then obviously you're just not going to be happy, and you're probably not going to feel connection towards them. And so something that would happen in the past, like in high school and and even like elementary school, middle school, whatever, I had always wanted to be popular and be friends with cool people. And so I would see people that were kind of awkward and like weird, and I wouldn't want to be friends with them, and I would think badly of them. Meanwhile, I was one of those like weird, awkward people, right? And so now what I do, that I've been accepting myself more and like unmasking, is that in a social situation, I kind of will look for like, stereotypical, like kind of awkward, weird person, and I will go up to them and try to befriend them, because I see now that I'm probably gonna have more of a connection with them than somebody that I view as like, oh, so cool and like popular, because that person I'm probably not gonna have a good connection with, and I'm probably going to feel disconnected from them. So that's something to notice also. If you're like kind of feeling bad about yourself and you want to, it's kind of, I guess, like I was saying, like unmasking, I have to accept who I am, accept, being neurodivergent, having ADHD, being autistic. I can't think I'm going to get along with, all these neurotypical people. I have to accept who I am, and I can't feel bad about myself for being neurodivergent, which I did feel in the past, which is why I didn't want to be friends with, people that I guess that I assumed that were neurodivergent. I didn't really know at the time, so now I look out for those people, and I'll talk to them and try to befriend them, because I just realized that I'm going to have more of a connection with them. And since I've been accepting myself more, I'm able to accept, those people more, and I'm not like thinking that it's embarrassing, to be around them. Now it's just like, whatever, you gotta do what's best for you and how you're gonna have the most fun. Because what it really is, I realize, is that doing the fun activities, it makes it more fun when you're doing it with people and you're having good connection. It's better to just go and do a fun activity by yourself than it is to do it with people that you don't like and don't have a good connection with. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you're feeling like people don't like you, don't get discouraged. It's okay to move on from those people. It doesn't mean that nobody's gonna like you. Move on from them and keep putting yourself out there so that you can meet even better people. And it kind of even reminds me, I was just thinking of, how you see that post on Instagram, it's like your plan and it's like one flower, and then it's like God's plan, and then it's like this whole bouquet and all that stuff. So it's kind of like your plan is like being friends with this specific set of people that you don't even feel connection with, but God's plan is you being friends with these other people that you have an amazing connection with. And it's not about quantity. Like, I'm better at like one-on-one, and I'm okay with having like 2 friends. It's like easier for me, in big groups I could get overwhelmed. And I think with the Lollipops, their group is like, there's like 15 people in that group. At the Tootsie Roll location, there's only 4 people in that Bible study group. But like I said, they don't even go up to the big young adults thing. But so yeah, please like and comment if this was helpful for you, and let me know of any other videos you want to hear me making, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.